Hello, everyone. Today, we'll be talking about the 3 key questions that you need to ask for retirement. And Matt, when someone is considering retiring, what are those 3 questions they need to be asking themselves and getting some answers?
Yeah, I think the first question you have to pretty much ask yourself is, what type of retirement do you want to have? You know, when you kind of visualize your retirement, what does it look like? And what I mean by that, Melissa, is we'll have some clients that'll come into the office and they'll tell us, you know what, I worked really hard my entire life. I put the kids through school. We sacrificed. You know, we focused on the family. This is now our time. You know, so we want to travel the world. We want to have a lavish retirement. We want to do things we couldn't do.
Buy that Corvette.
I want to buy the Corvette or Lamborghini or you know, whatever it is. And so that's what some people visualize for their retirement. Other clients, when we ask this type of question, they'll just say, hey, you know, if you can show me a way that I don't have to get up and go to work on Monday, that's fine.
Fine by them.
Yeah, you know, if I can't leave the house, I have to sit at home all day, I don't have any money to do anything else, that's fine. Well, obviously those are 2 very different extremes, right? And so they're going to require a different set of income and a different nest egg for you when you go into retirement. So that's basically the first question I ask is,
what do I want to do?
What do I want to do? You know, the other thing that sometimes people fail to really think about is when you go into retirement, it's exciting. It can be scary if you don't have a plan, but it's really exciting. But the one thing you have to consider is you're now going to have an extra 40 or 50 or some cases 60 hours per week that you need to fill that time doing something. And what we've noticed in most cases is that our clients will fill that time doing something that will require some money.
Yeah,
every day's a Saturday.
Yeah,
right?
every day is a Saturday. So whether they go shopping or gardening or golfing or traveling like we just mentioned, you know, they fill those hours doing something. So there's a myth sometimes that individuals think they're going to go into retirement and they'll be able to really reduce how much income they have coming into the house. And we've found that most of the time that's just not the case. A lot of individuals need just as much money when they go into retirement as they need it when they were working.
Just for different things.
Just different things, yeah, exactly. Where they're spending the money changes, but they still kind of spend about the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So you need what kind of lifestyle, and what are the other questions you need to ask yourself?
Well, once you figure that out, once you've figured out what type of lifestyle, now you need to decide, okay, well, how much income is that going to take? And the first place that you generally will start looking at income in retirement is Social Security. And now, no one has, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? But you never can predict the future. You can only look at a few different things. Number one, how long do people in your family typically live? I mean, there's I think 567 different ways to integrate spousal benefits. So, I mean, we could spend hours and hours trying to figure out what's the best strategy to file Social Security. Or you could have a Social Security analysis ran to find out what will be recommended to you.
Yeah, you know, when you start to talk about Social Security, I know, Melissa, you and I have talked about it a little bit in the past, that there's a lot of information out there that people can read that will tell you that you should delay taking Social Security as long as you possibly can. Because every year you get, you know, about an 8% bump in what that income will be for the rest of your life. So let's say you want to put off taking it and drawing on it for as long as you can. We kind of feel a little different. We sometimes will recommend individuals take Social Security as early as they possibly can, because we've noticed that our clients that are maybe in their 70s or late 70s or 80s into their 90s, they're nowhere near as active as what they were when they were in their 60s and maybe early 70s. They travel more, they're involved in more things, and again, it requires more money. So you can make an argument to delay Social Security, but I would rather see individuals spend and enjoy the money when they really can. So like Dustin was mentioning, it's a big question that has to be answered for a lot of individuals, and that's why we've got a Social Security analysis that we can run for them so they know for their specific situation when they should draw it.
I think the biggest fear out there is, what if I run out? What if I run out? What if I run out? And do you find that people don't run out, they have some left over, or what usually happens?
It really depends on how things are set up. I mean, if you're completely exposed to risk, I mean, using mutual funds or bond funds or stocks, things like that, if we have another 2008, I mean, it's likely that they may not run out of money, but they would probably have to change their lifestyle.
Take a hit.
Pretty drastically. Or maybe go back to work. You know, that's really the...
No.
Yeah.
Not once you've retired.
Not too many people get excited about that option. So, I mean, if things are set up properly, if things went, you know, if we had another 2008, it may sting a little bit, but you're probably not going to have to go back to work or reduce your standard of living.
You know, the other thing that plays into that is whether they're running out of money or they have a lot left over at the end is, again, what do they want? Because we have some clients that will tell us that their children, the next generation, things just aren't going to be as good for them. Or maybe the kids are going more towards, charitable types of passions as opposed to running a business. And so sometimes our clients will say, I need to really protect this nest egg as much as I can because I need to pass as much as I can on to my
They want to
children.
leave it for the kids.
Or maybe grandchildren in some cases, but sometimes, they need to leave it to their kids because they know their children aren't going to have pensions. There's concerns over Social Security. Again, if they're not in a career path that's going to pay them like their parents were paid, then they want to leave them as much money as they can. The flip side of that is we'll have other parents that will come in and tell us that, look, we sacrificed all the years. We put them through 12 years of private school, and another 4 years or 5, 6 years of college, and we gave them a car, and we gave them a down payment on the first house, and so it's our time. So if there's any money left over, that's fine, but we don't have a strong desire to leave each of the kids $500,000 or $1 million or something of that nature. So it sometimes comes back to what do you want? And again, building some sort of an analysis around that to make sure that the path you're on will help you accomplish that.
So you've got your lifestyle, you've got your Social Security. Anything else that you should consider before taking the plunge when you're retiring?
I would say how are you going to handle inflation, and then how are you going to handle healthcare costs? We could talk all day long about healthcare costs, right? And not just going and visiting your doctor, but long-term care needs. Individuals are living longer and longer, but they're not always in great health when they're living longer and longer. So some individuals are going to need someone maybe to come into their house later in life to help them on a daily basis, or maybe they're going to need to go live in some sort of an assisted living facility. And all along the way, as you're paying for all these different things, you have to consider how you're going to handle inflation. Inflation has really been in check over the last 5, 10, maybe as many as 15 years. But historically speaking, inflation is going to run a lot higher than what it has been here recently.
Yeah, if you think about it, just using the average, and I was just looking at this the other day, the average inflationary rate over the last 100 years is right at 3%. So figure every 20 years, you're going to need to double what your income is.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, so I mean, people are living longer, having longer retirements. If you're spending $3,000 a month now at 60, by the time you're 90, you may be spending $12,000 a month. I mean, so you really have to, you have to plan for those types of things.
And again, it all starts with an analysis.
And if you would like more information about the 3 key questions on retirement, you can visit swdgroup.com. And we want you to stay tuned for more Strategic Wealth with Matt Dickin right after the break.